Let's see. This live event will begin in 4 minutes. Why?
चालू हो गया bro. Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Yeah.
I got a notification also on my phone.
Yeah, we're live now. I can say us.
I can hear Himanshu कौन play कर रहा है? Himanshu
Okay.
from
We
20
are
seconds ago.
successfully live now.
Hi.
Yeah, just give me a second. Is there anybody watching except for me? If there is anybody out there, please give us say something if you can hear all of us.
मैं चालू करके रखूं क्या so as to see कि कौन है?
मैंने भी चालू करके रखा हुआ है वैसे, पर तुम लोग भी कर लो if you guys want to read chat or something.
Yeah, I'll
He
keep
should
वैसे
have what?
वैसे. Yeah,
You
you
should.
should. So, oh, Amir Sajid movie freak is here. Hey guys, what's up, man?
Hi.
Hey, I think I should just share this on our discontent WhatsApp group also before we begin.
हाँ.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just do that.
So to anybody who's listening who's not part of the group, please join our WhatsApp group where we talk about cinema.
Yeah, just DM us on discontent on Instagram, diss.content, and I'll add you. Yeah, 1 second.
अच्छा यार पिछले वाले स्ट्रीम का कमेंट्स
पता नहीं यार मेरे को फिगर आउट करना है. I know I sound like a dud right now, but मेरे को भी समझ नहीं आया कि कैसे कमेंट्स देखे जाएं पहले.
नहीं उसमें now you can see it. I just think it took a while. I enabled the live chat. You can now read the live chat of the last one also.
Okay.
You are audible as well as visible. Thank
Thank you.
That's all the validation we needed for this moment. Anyway, so
चार
this
लोग.
is this is episode 46 of the Discontent podcast and the second live episode of the on the Discontent channel. I'm Aditya Khanna for those of you all still on audio noobs. I'm Aditya. With me is Bharat Misra.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hello, guys.
and Himanshu Arya.
Hi guys.
Yeah, and so what we've started this week, actually, and what we hope to continue as a pattern for the rest of the podcast as we go on, is each of us every week will recommend a film to the other two, and unless we have a guest episode or something, we will watch that movie and then discuss it on that person's suggestion. And then we can talk about it and whether we like it or dislike it. For example, today we have Ford versus Ferrari and Joji, both of whom were recommended to us by Bharat. And so we're gonna discuss that. We're not gonna have any spoilers because Joji came out like yesterday, and so if Ford versus Ferrari, so there's nothing to really spoil, frankly. So yeah, so that is what we're gonna do, and also what we will do is by the end of this episode, if we can, we'll hope to tell you all the movie that we're going to discuss, movie or movies or TV shows that we'll discuss next week
Yeah.
by any one of us, so that you guys can also watch those, so that we don't have to not do spoilers. So at least if a bulk of our audience is watching the same stuff, so it's good. Joji as in Filthy Frank? No, not Filthy Frank. Joji is a Malayalam film. Maybe I should change the title of this video. We're gonna get Mr. Pink songs. Pink guy. What am I saying, Mr. Pink? Pink guy songs. No, this is not Filthy Frank Joji. Just making it clear. This is a new Malayalam film from Kerala, India. I think there is somebody who's not. Tobias Funk is not Indian, I think. So yeah. Anyway, let's go on with the episode. Bharat, since you suggested these two films,
Yeah.
which you pick, which one we'll discuss.
Let's start with Joji because I mean we were talking about how it's recent and how it's
Yeah.
fresher in our minds. So we can, and I would like you guys to talk about it because I am like I've watched this guy's past two films and I know of his style. So I wanted you guys, like I wanted to introduce you guys to it, even though I've not seen Joji when I
Right.
recommended it.
This guy, matlab the Fahad Fazil or the director?
Both of them.
Okay.
Fahad Fasil and Dilesh Potan both have worked together for two films before.
Right.
Tobias has written Dilli se hu bhai.
Okay.
So, but the two of those films are very different. Those two films are very similar, but the two of them are different from Joji in many ways, which we can talk about right now. But I want you guys to give me what you guys genuinely thought about it.
Yeah. So just before we go on, I just want to read out the director and writer. So Joji is directed by Dilish Pothan and written by Syam Pushkaran, who
Pushkaran.
incidentally also wrote Kumbalangi Nights,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
I
yeah.
found out just now. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It's on Amazon Prime, so very accessible. Please go watch it. Himanshu, if you don't mind, I'll just go on with the. I frankly think that Johnny Gaddar has found its meaningful
Exactly.
successor in
Exactly.
Indian cinema. I had such a big smile as
Yeah.
this movie came to a close. I was, like just full, like if you have like a great meal at a
Yeah.
restaurant that just randomly you walk into. Because
No.
I did not know about Joji.
So this is what
Yeah,
I wanted to say.
huh.
See, basically, this is more like Johnny Gaddar than Macbeth
Yeah,
because
exactly,
it's
exactly.
it's the prototype is the same
Yeah,
as Johnny Gaddar,
yeah,
but Himanshu, this is I mean, this is not started at the point at which you are in the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I
So
got it. So for the audience, like
yeah,
I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I'm in 40-minute mark, and I was
right,
trying to finish it, but नहीं हो पा रहा था. मतलब आज कल ही निकला है ना. So I won't be able to, break it down or anything. But
right.
I think it's best that you guys talk about this one.
So Aditya, continue.
Uh,
You're saying.
yeah, yeah. So the reason I say Johnny Gaddar is because it's such a tight thriller, And before I get into the plot or the character part of it or the Macbeth part of it, so those who don't know, Joji is adapted from Macbeth and also adapted from a real life case of cyanide killings that happened in Kerala in 2019. This I read on their
Hmm.
Wikipedia
Oh, I
page.
didn't know this.
So very this thing what I found interesting was also that it's I think one of the it's the first pandemic film I've seen, a film made post the start of the pandemic. So and I love the fact that they don't address it beyond, like, the pandemic is incidental in the film.
Yes. Yeah.
Perhaps the family has been, so it's about a family basically living in one house, in like a large house, and it's a rich family, a wealthy family in Kerala. So it's about this family and things that are happening with them, and perhaps they've just been put inside that house because of the pandemic. But apart from that, there's not much to do with the pandemic. They
In
just
fact,
wear masks when they go
yeah.
out. That's it.
In
There's
fact,
no real.
they seem uncomfortable in the company of each other. So
Yeah,
that sort
yeah,
of led me to believe also that they are not used to this kind of proximity, but because
exactly.
it's the pandemic, uh,
Hmm.
they are put in. And the framing of certain shots is like that. There
Hmm.
are these very wide angle shots, and characters are placed unevenly on the opposite side. It's not like a even frame.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a beautiful or a balanced frame. It's an imbalanced frame, and that sort of gave me the same sense as you're talking about. It's a pandemic
Hmm.
film, and you're led to think. It's never
Hmm.
spoken out loud, and I'm not even sure whether it was meant.
Hmm.
But it gives us that feeling at the back of your mind that these guys do not naturally belong in the same space that they're occupying.
Right, right.
Hmm.
No, so I also felt that in the when you come to spaces and cinema, first of all, the cinematography was out of the world.
Yeah,
Okay, it was some beautiful, like such thoughtful frames. Like so many times I paused it. You know what that thing that happens, which DOPs do. Pardon my ignorance. Okay, but like when you're at the corner of the frame in a wide shot, and then when you go to like a mid shot or something, that person is still in that part of the frame looking like they're concealed in a sort of world, and that happened so many times in this film also, in a later moment, which I don't want to get into the plot detail of it, but it was really well. I think technically this film is so superior than
yeah,
most of the films I've seen around the world actually. In fact, I will also say that the spaces in the film, the architecture of the film, which is the house, because the film is almost entirely based around this house, in and around this house and estate. The geography of the house is very cool. The interiors are very, it's a very bizarre sort of thing that they've done, and they've used it to their advantage in the cinematography. For example, Fahad Fazil's character's room is there's like a slant at the entry, right, which is
yeah,
which towards the end of the film, as the film unravels, the thriller unravels, it becomes very ominous. The door is
yeah,
very ominous throughout
yeah.
the film, right? And
And the
I
window
just felt
also, the
the
window right
window,
there.
yeah,
It's it gave me a sense of the family, which is that nothing is allowed to be private, and yet
right,
this guy is doing trying to be private about his affairs.
right.
It was very very nice the way it was done. Ajay, guys, sorry, give me 10 seconds. You guys please talk.
Yeah, yeah,
I have
sure.
something urgent for 10 seconds to do.
Sure, sure. Okay, so we'll just carry on while Bharat sorts out his domestic
Hmm.
issues. So there was wait, I think we can still hear Bharat. I don't think Bharat knows. Okay, never mind. So okay, the Himanshu, since we saw only 40 minutes of the film,
Hmm.
who was your favorite character so far? Because I have mine ready. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, the elder brother, na,
Huh.
the one who's really well built
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and very scary looking. Up
Right.
until now, I am at that scene where there's the priest and he is
Right.
praying and he's
Right,
like,
right.
if he leaves us right now, it's fine. And he's getting worked up about it.
That is a
I'll
very nice scene, though.
after giving a little bit of one character, I also want to just talk about the plot of the film in a little bit, just to give the audience a gist of this, in case they don't know anything about this film. So the my favorite character in this entire film was Bincy, who is the best Lady
Lady
Macbeth
Macbeth.
I have
Huh.
ever seen in my life.
Dude.
What a great Lady Macbeth! I don't know who thought of it this way, but
Yeah,
they,
and
they
she's not wordy, like she's not verbose
yeah,
at all.
at all.
Like I was always, and I think it's an unfair comparison, but in my head I was always comparing her to Tabu.
Taboo, same,
Hmm.
yeah,
But and it's such a different, like it's such a far cry, such a
completely.
completely. It's almost like this guy did never saw Makbul, because if I
Huh.
were setting out to make Macbeth, I
Hmm.
would have these ideas, कि यार
Hmm.
Right.
लेडी मैकबेथ तो ऐसी होनी चाहिए, ऐसा लोग दिखा चुके, whatever. But this
Hmm.
is so untainted by any other previous adaptation.
Perceptions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perceptions.
And the literary heft is not there on this character. You can tell it's a very it's so understated that
Yeah.
uh, at one point you feel like when the character becomes very vulnerable, like throughout the like ladies, I'm not spoiling anything, but even Lady Macbeth's character starts off as this flamboyant and kind of in control, and then sort of
Hmm.
unravels and loses it, right? And when that starts happening to this character again, it's there's a very tiny scene which I think Himanshu has not reached yet, where she's confronting Fahad Fazil character about something. It's not relevant what, but she's just talking to him about something, and that scene you can tell that is in the equivalent of this film, that is her moment of where she's starting to lose and she's realizing
Yeah.
she's lose, and it's
Like,
done so well, it's done
Actually,
beautifully.
the ending, now towards the last 20 minutes of the movie, I
Hmm.
feel, are very much a Sriram Raghavan film, because
Yeah,
people are planning things and then they're executing those things, but it's not going as per plan. And
exactly.
at every point, they're reassessing their plan till the point you're like, you can't do anything. Like, it's just a dead end. Again,
Right.
I'm trying to be as vague as possible
As
while still
possible,
giving you a
yeah.
sense of
So,
how it
so
feels.
I'll give people a bit of a context about this story, this movie. The trailer से ज़्यादा मैं ज़्यादा कुछ बताऊंगा नहीं. So it's essential. Even though the trailer doesn't say a lot, and it's a very well
Yeah,
cut trailer by the way on
very,
Amazon,
very well
on
cut. Yeah.
YouTube. So yeah, the plot of the film is basically this family in Kerala. They're a very wealthy landowning sort of plantation. They have, I think, rubber or some, I don't know,
Yeah.
something that they grow, and it's a very rich family, and they're like a very patriarchal, very clearly structured patriarchal family where there is a father who's very old. He has three sons. The eldest is divorced. The middle one is married. The eldest also has a teenage son, and
Yeah.
the youngest son is Fahad Fazil, who's a
Yeah.
bit
hmm.
of a wastrel basically. The middle one kind of handles the business, and the elder one is sort of just a loudmouth
Yeah.
basically. And that is sort of the structure in which the film operates. And
Hmm.
the film begins with the older guy, the grandfather basically. In the first 10-15 minutes of the film, he gets struck by a heart attack or something happens while he's doing some
Stroke.
menial task, a
Some
stroke,
stroke. Yeah.
and he is sort of in a semi-conscious state from that point on in the film, and then something whatever happens. And
Yeah.
the film follows the tension between the younger people in the family, whether it's the daughter-in-law who's Lady Macbeth, and or the sons, and about the financial insecurity about who the money will go to. So very straightforward, simple, understandable plot that the film has, but it
It's
goes
like
into
an
great territories.
it's like an Indian version of Succession, man. It
Yeah,
the
It,
first episode of, and I then realized that Succession is also Macbeth.
Kind of. It's
I
very Succession is actually very Shakespearean. It's
Very
yeah.
Shakespearean.
very
Correct.
Shakespearean.
It's almost King
Yeah.
Lear, and then it's also
Hamlet भी है उसमें तो.
Hamlet भी है
उसमें
उसमें.
season 1 का end I feel anyway. हाँ.
बट माय पॉइंट इज एक दो चीजें जो मैंने नोट की थी, जो मतलब नोट क्या की थी, दिमाग में आया था मेरे.
Hmm.
फर्स्ट सॉरी, पहले एक कमेंट मुझे वो करना था, रिकॉग्नाइज कि जितिन
Right.
has said that just finished watching Joji, it's amazing.
Hmm.
I mean we all share the
Same
sentiment.
opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, my point was in how, मतलब कैसे वो मैकबेथ से एक डिपार्चर भी है और सेम भी है
Right.
कि मैकबेथ में मुझे याद है, जो एटलीस्ट जो मैंने पढ़ी थी अपने मतलब स्कूल के टाइम पे,
Hmm.
all the characters are honorable, and here it
Hmm.
is almost the opposite. Every character is dishonorable. Every
Not.
character,
I
no,
would. I would argue that point a little bit.
no, the thing is everybody, I mean, okay, this is my maybe,
Huh.
okay, I won't say more, but my point is, in my opinion, the every character is trying to do what Joji wants to do. Everybody
Okay.
wants to do that,
Huh.
right?
Right.
And it's just that he plans on doing it.
Right.
Hmm.
That, and that becomes, that's why this guy is Macbeth and not anybody else. Anybody else could have been it.
Hmm.
As
You're
a,
right.
and the op and in the second point that I wanted to make was, in Macbeth is an honorable guy. He
Yeah.
Right.
and he's a worthy guy. It's not like he's not smart, he doesn't have the brains, he doesn't have the
Ambitious
capacity.
guy.
He's an ambitious guy, and it is eventually,
His ambition that takes the better of him. The
yeah,
vaulting ambition.
here it is more of a, it's something else. It's not,
Financial, nah?
I'll
It's more
I
like
just want to before because this is also to do with the end of the film, which I'm not going to talk about. But Macbeth, because in Macbeth can sort of accuse Lady Macbeth of do whatever Lady Macbeth tries to make Macbeth do. Not Macbeth, so जो भी उसका नाम है. So this is a far cry from that, and this is relevant to the end of the. I feel like that diatribe is a sort of is ironic in a sense,
then you'll
part
get,
also because you'll understand what I'm
but
also.
it reminded me
Yeah.
of in a way Breaking Bad,
Huh.
because Breaking Bad maybe the character has all sorts of ideas throughout for
Right.
whatever is happening to him or whatever he's doing, in fact.
Right.
But
Yes, yeah, in the last 1 or 2 months, I think. So yeah, Hindol says love the selection of movies here, both dealing with father-son relationships, although in much definite watch from me. I think I'm gonna watch it again soon,
yeah,
whenever it goes out. You should watch this for sure instead of watching. Dude, first of all, Malayalam cinema, I think we are not embarrassed every time people from outside come and watch
yeah,
our films. They should be the represented because, dude, they have one after the other just great movies, and
yeah.
I have to catch up on some myself, but the whatever I've seen, they've been amazing. So
So just a prime Fahad and Friends, his is his production company.
right,
Everybody's a part of it. Everybody, so they take turns producing, directing. Not turns, but Dilish has also produced a lot of other films. Uh,
truly Kerala
yeah,
communism. Yeah.
you are not. I am not making this film. We are.
We are making this film.
So, but the previous two films, both of which I think have won a national award each,
Hmm.
Mahesh Inte Pratikaram and another film that I can't pronounce. Okay,
बोल दे कुछ भी बोल दे
it starts
इरुवर
with,
बोल दे कुछ भी.
it's called Tondi Muttamullam something. Okay,
Let's not defame the south so much also.
but yeah, both of those films are basically very simplistic films about
Hmm.
human nature, but in a very sweet way.
Right.
So in the first film, Mahesh Inte Pratikaram, is about Fahad Fasil, who's a normal village idiot
Hmm.
who happens to get into a fight over, I think, his chappals. His chappals get stolen. That's
Hmm.
the story, okay? And it's done so well. It doesn't. It's not like it doesn't deal with the darker side of human nature, but our character is firmly a righteous character, and the story is about, oh, look how peaceful this town is, look how beautiful Kerala is, and
Hmm.
it's a very beautifully shot film. The second film takes it a step further, where the hero is not so righteous. He's a good guy, but he is also a thief. He has stolen something, chindi basically,
Hmm.
but that is what the story is about. And so that is sort of, people said, oh, so Dilish Potan has, like, uh, gone one step further into the dark depth of
Right.
human whatever, and now I think we are in it.
Now is there, yeah. I
Now
haven't seen the early ones, but now he's strongly, I mean, a very, I think this makes for a very good Macbeth adaptation, or just a
yeah,
general thriller. I love, I'm anywhere sucker for thrillers based in one houses, which reminds me, there is a thriller based in one house coming very soon on mostly either your friendly neighborhood YouTube channel or some streaming platform, which is called Aryan and Mein Nahi Bachega. It's produced by Discontent Films and made by the people on your screen right now. So uska trailer aap dekh sakte ho. It's on this channel. So just go on the channel, watch the trailer, like it, and also like this stream. 12 लोग देख रहे हैं और 6 like है, तो प्लीज लाइक कर दो, तो हमें भी थोड़ा अच्छा लगेगा. So anyway, moving on from anything else, Himanshu, you have anything to say about Joji, because you're at the cusp of the plot unraveling, so to speak, right now.
No, yeah, I'm just
oh, sorry
excited
guys,
to
I have to
see.
interrupt you guys
Huh.
to read the next to the
Oh
next.
my god, I know what comment you're going to read. Yeah, this
So it's
is.
by Ankit Singh.
Uh,
He says, "Hey guys, SCMC Junior here. Just here to say what a treat Kauman and Himanshu Are ki degree film was."
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. I
Thank
don't know
you.
what batch you're in, but yeah, thank you. I don't know what else to say on Cowman, or I don't know what Himanshu wants to say on
काफी
Himanshu
टाइम हो
Arya ki degree film.
गया.
I think Cowman is still on this channel, because this channel used to be the place where I support my short films in college. So, अगर आपको मन करे तो देख लो यार, क्या हो गया. Is Himanshu Arya still available
Yeah, yeah. It's on
on
Blue Pencil, na?
Blue Pencil, so you can watch that as well. If anyone's
Yeah,
interested in, so since we shit on films so much over here, you guys can watch our movies, और उधर जाके भी आप लोग अपने opinions दे सकते हैं. So please do that.
and
Uh,
do that for Aryan also, huh?
do that for Aryan also. We
Ankit.
actually, yeah, Aryan, I'm saying, Ankit, please watch our next film, which is also coming out, which we made soon after college got over actually. So yeah,
Hey guys,
let
Bharat Mishra, I am from SCM.
22.
भरत मिश्रा क्यों बोल रहा है यार? सब है, हम तीनों हैं.
Bharat Mishra, I am SCMC batch 23 and your podcast is lit. Nice. Thank you, Pranav Joshi.
आई थिंक
Batch
प्रणव ने सोचा कि यार
2022.
इन दोनों की तारीफ हो गई, भरत मिश्रा
हाँ,
को.
भरत की फिल्म का, भरत ने भी एक फिल्म बनाई थी शमशेर करके, which is actually a damn good documentary which you guys should watch. वो भी आपको मिल जाएगी, I'm sure,
भाई एक
YouTube
सेकंड,
पर.
ये लोग
हाँ,
2022 2023 वाले
23
बैच
के.
के हैं, ये लोग अभी भी देख रहे हैं यार.
ये लोग अभी भी देख रहे हैं मूवीज. कौन दिखा रहा है
हम
तुम्हें? कौन है
हाँ,
नादान लड़के जिन्हें हमारी मूवीज दिखाई जा रही है? हाँ, but it's good to know, man. It's good to know that some people are have seen some of our shit.
नाइस.
So yeah.
हिमांशु तू कुछ कह रहा था बिफोर.
हाँ, please let's go on with the discussion.
I don't think I can talk more about
हाँ,
because I don't have that much of a thing. अभी
right.
तक मैंने I haven't reached that point only, but I can feel it. You know,
Hmm.
it's gonna get there, and I can
तुम लोगों
sense
ने
that.
तुम लोगों ने कुंबलंगी नाइट्स या फिर कोई भी फहद फासिल की पहली फिल्म, कुछ पिछली
Is
फिल्म?
this is Fahad in one of the second film by Jose?
बाय
Jose
The guy,
Pellicer.
yeah,
सेकंड फिल्म कौन सी है यार?
अंगमली, फिर इमायू, या
Imayu में is he there in
इमायू
जली
Imayu?
में नहीं है.
Or is he
इमायू
in
में
the
तो नहीं
third
था.
one? Is he in the third one? The
जलीकट्टू
Jallikattu.
सीनियर्स दिखा रहे हैं भाई इनको, सॉरी.
सीनियर्स दिखा रहे हैं. अच्छा, लेट्स स्टे फोकस ऑन द ऑन द कन्वर्सेशन. कमेंट्स पे आ जाएंगे एक साथ एक साथ. चल, हाँ.
नहीं नहीं, किसी में नहीं है भाई वो. किसी भी फिल्म में नहीं है. जल्दी
अच्छा, I'm getting confused. हाँ, चलो ठीक है. Sorry.
Okay, so if that is enough for Joji, we can move on to a much less remarkable movie called Ford versus Ferrari, in my view.
इतनी तो
तो
खराब नहीं थी, बट
आते
ठीक है.
आते हैं तो जोजी देख लो सब लोग, Amazon पर है. I think all of us recommend it very highly. I again, as I said, those of you all who have seen Johnny Gaddar, this is, if you love Johnny Gaddar, watch Joji right now. You will love the
Yeah,
film. So yeah, let's move on to Ford versus Ferrari. Ford versus Ferrari is a film directed by the guy who made Logan. I found out
yeah.
Logan and
Hmm.
क्या नाम है इसका? His
और
name
भी फिल्में
is
बनाई है उसने.
James Mangold.
जेम्स मैनगोल्ड,
James
करेक्ट.
Mangold ने बनाई है. और क्या बनाया है इसने? Anyway, he's made Wolverine. Yeah, he's
He's
made
made
Wolverine.
Wolverine, then he made Logan, and
Yeah.
Logan I personally really liked
Yeah.
Hmm.
as a fan of the original X1, X2, X3.
I don't know if I heard this joke or this is an organic joke because it's so long back, but एक कुछ तो था that Logan को best screenplay का nomination मिला था in Academy Awards that year. So somebody had said कि that Logan has the best screenplay for the people who only watch superhero movies in the year. So in that department, it's a great. But no, that was a good film. That it's not. It wasn't bad. It was like a pretty
Yeah.
uh, good effort in terms
इसका
of the
इसका
superhero
ट्रेलर
genre.
मुझे याद है. I remember the trailer, which I think I remember more than the movie.
Hmm.
So जो जॉनी कैश का एक गाना है जो कि 9 Inch Nails का एक गाना है,
Hmm.
हर्ट.
I hurt myself.
Right.
हाँ.
हाँ, एंड वो उस ट्रेलर पे आता है, एंड इट इज एप्ट बिकॉज इट इज आल्सो द स्टोरी ऑफ दिस गाय.
The guy who cannot die,
Hmm.
या.
and he keeps getting hurt, but he keeps living on.
अच्छा,
Yeah.
Jibin has said that
हाँ.
Fahad Fasil acted in Amen, directed by Pellisseri, but I have not
I
watched.
have not seen Amen
I
yet.
think it's
Damn.
before Angamali.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hmm.
we
मतलब और भी
we are
माल है.
we are quite
Yeah.
bad on the South Indian movies, the entire industry. Like this podcast, we need to figure this shit out.
Yeah, I mean, being a film podcast, we should be a lot more aware. I
यार
think
इसमें
we've
ना,
also been a little out of touch. I
बट मैं
think
तुम लोग
मैं
को
generally भी movies नहीं देख रहा हूँ उतनी सारी.
मैं
हाँ.
एक बात
हाँ.
बताऊं, लीजो जोस पेलिसेरी की इसके पिछली वाली फिल्म, मतलब अंगमली के पहले वाली फिल्म थी एक, मुझे याद है, मे बी आई एम रॉन्ग, बट उसका नाम था डबल बैरल. एंड
Hmm.
दैट वाज लाइक, ओ दिस अ प्रिटेंशियस कूल ट्राइंग टू बी कूल टाइप की फिल्म. तो इसलिए मैंने फिर सोचा कि यार अब इसके पीछे नहीं जाता हूँ. इसके बाद ही इसका समय, मतलब फॉर मी इट वाज दैट वाटरशेड अनुभव सिन्हा काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग, कि इसके पहले इसने 10 बहाने और कैश और ये सब बनाई है.
मुझे भी आज यही लग रहा था मिस्टर पिंक ने कहा है जो
क्या?
कि फोर्ड वर्सेस फेरारी ये थोड़ी पुरानी नहीं हो गई विच इज ट्रू बट वी आर ट्राइंग टू कैच अप मैन वी आर डूइंग आवर बेस्ट वी डिस्कस जोजी तो कल रही है ना तो इतना तो मतलब सांस लेने तो दो यार तुम लोग मतलब क्या कर रहे हो तो या
हाँ.
भरत आर यू इंडिस्पोज्ड
गिव मी अ मिनट गाइस, तुम लोग
ओके
बात करो ना. हाँ.
हाँ ठीक है तो फोर्ड वर्सेस फेरारी हिमांशु व्हाट डिड यू थिंक सिंस तो जोजी के बारे में कुछ नहीं बोला तो इसके बारे में बोल दे
Uh, I saw it today morning. Okay, like
ओके
5 in the morning I started
ग्रेट स्टार्ट
because yeah, and I really liked it. Yeah, and I didn't understand why you. I think it is a decent movie
हम्म
with good characters, and it's very rare that a Hollywood movie comes out that has the lead actors are very big stars, right?
राइट
And yet you check out the movie and you forget that it's Matt Damon and
हम्म
Christian Bale. Christian
राइट
Bale, you forget that it's Christian Bale.
या
You don't think एक सेकंड के लिए भी नहीं लगा कि क्रिश्चियन बेल एक्टिंग कर रहा है और मैट डेमन थोड़ा सा you can feel
हम्म
कि he is putting on an accent or whatever. Christian Bale is damn good.
forget
So
when you're talking about forgetting things I'll tell you I forgot about the movie while I was watching the movie. Okay. That's how bland I thought this movie was. It was such a nothing film. It was the most trademark it's very ironic also because the movie Ford versus Ferrari is trying to talk about also trying to talk about telling the story of this race of this driver but also trying to tell the story about how these corporations like Ford
hmm,
fuck with people who are like under them, who work for them, or
hmm.
sort of they act as if they own everybody and everything. And it's everything is so formulaic with Ford. अबे तुम्हारी मूवी formulaic है तुम्हारी मूवी कितनी ज्यादा formulaic है it was such a I just couldn't get myself to feel for anything or anybody in this movie. And no, there were a few entertaining scenes here and there. The racing scenes, some of them were pretty well done. I mean, it's a big budget film that is par for the course, but it was otherwise just bland and I felt it was like a nothing film. Like I felt absolutely nothing at the end of
I'll
it.
tell you what is happening here. Okay,
Hmm.
the film na is made to look like a very fast-paced action film, like a Fast and Furious kind of movie. At
Or like
least,
a rush, not Fast and Furious or the other way, but like a rush. Yeah, the rush.
huh?
चली थी. हाँ.
You're talking about the Jackie
The
Chan one.
नहीं भाई वो रश आर है साले
Sorry.
रश आर है रश इज अ मूवी ऑफ वो दैट निकी लाउडा एंड ईथन हंट
Yeah,
द टू
yeah, yeah, yeah.
racers
Oh,
do
yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
that guy also remember who was editing
The
Gotnik was
trailer.
editing yeah anyway let's not
Yeah.
yeah go into that
So, yeah, so the film looks like that. For most part, it looks like a Fast and Furious movie. but it's like it's a movie about characters and not about
Right.
the racing. It's a
Hmm.
movie about two people struggling with their own problems, and in the end, they actually manage to reach out and do something that their characters wouldn't have allowed themselves to
Hmm.
do. They both gave in. They both reached their ambition. They both gave in to other people's. They both became team players in some sense, and overall, they both learned something from each other. And I thought it was meant to be that only. The director's vision was that, and the idea that the way it looks, cars are damn fast, and the shots are damn beautiful. That's
Ah,
just a diversion. Like
yeah.
वो
But
हम
I don't think so. I did not think that. I felt in fact that it was better than Rush. मैंने Rush भी देखी है.
Hmm.
मतलब मुझे रश अच्छी लगती है. It's not like a bad film, but here I felt वहां पे मुझे थोड़ा जो एक राइवलरी थी ना, वो थोड़ी मुझे पुट ऑन लगी थी. इवन दो आई एम श्योर, आई मीन इट्स अ रियल लाइफ राइवलरी, बट मुझे उतना कनेक्ट उस राइवलरी से नहीं आया था. द रेसेस वर अमेजिंग. आई थिंक
Hmm.
इट टेक्स दिस फिल्म फॉर मी took the good parts of the racing from Rush, and I also genuinely felt like I could connect to this guy. मुझे सबसे सही चीज जो इसमें लगी वो था कि फोर्ड का जो कैरेक्टराइजेशन है
Hmm.
is so vastly different from Enzo, you know.
हाँ.
And the whole उनके बीच की जो चलते रहता ना कि all of his execs go to Italy to buy
Right.
or to do some kind of arrangement with this guy,
Hmm.
and how that whole sequence, to me it was very good. And then he makes those guys repeat what he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those bits were good for me. I mean, what you're talking about, the non-racing parts, and I think the second half, or if you were to divide the movie into two halves, the second half is just racing, right? There is
Hmm.
nothing else apart from that in the movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to me it was executed so well. And there are all kinds of races that they show. So they यूजुअली क्या होता है, जैसे इंडियन फिल्मों में क्या करते हैं वो लोग कि जब भी रेसिंग या कुछ दिखाना रहता है तो
Hmm.
एक तो नॉर्म सबसे घटिया चीज जो करते हैं, नॉर्मल स्पीड पे शूट करके उसको फास्ट फॉरवर्ड. और वीएफएक्स करते तो ढंग से नहीं करते यार.
हाँ.
मतलब
हाँ.
वीएफएक्स ऐसे ब्राइट सनलाइट में करेंगे जिससे दिख जाएगा कि सब फेक.
Right. अरे but
My point is,
हाँ.
here I genuinely felt thrilled in each and
Right.
every race, and each and every race had its different character. It's not like template racing कि अभी
Hmm.
रेस है, अभी इसको ऐसे ऐसे चकमा दे रहा है, ये कर रहा है. It's not that. It felt more, it had more stakes.
Hmm.
And also the fact that all of this is almost completely true.
Right.
The even the details, right? Even the detail that this guy tried, how they tried to line up all three, and then
Spoiler हो जाएगा. Spoiler. If that is a spoiler. That.
हाँ.
इसका
हाँ.
दे सकते हैं 2019 की
फोर्ड
मूवी
और
है.
फेरारी का स्पॉइलर दे रहे हैं, ठीक है, फिर प्लीज कुछ बोलना मत अभी. पर
Yeah.
स्पॉइलर ही नहीं है, मतलब क्या ही है उसमें कुछ. तो भरत, बिफोर यू केम आई वाज जस्ट टेलिंग हिमांशु
Yeah.
दैट basically I thought the movie was very ironic
Hmm.
because the movie tries to comment on how Ford and all these corporations are so formulaic and they try to make you follow a pattern, but this bloody movie is formulaic and
Hmm.
it is such a, every year in Hollywood, usually directed by David or Russell और डायरेक्टेड बाय अपना ये कौन है, मार्स वाली फिल्म, मार्शियन वाली फिल्म कौन सी किसने बनाई थी, क्या
Ridley
नाम है
Scott.
उसका, रिडली
रेडली
स्कॉट. इन
स्कॉट.
दोनों का एक मेरे को लगता है कोटा इनका है. हम दोनों में से या अपने टाइप की एक मूवी एक आएगी. आई थिंक फोर्ड वर्सेस फरारी वाज दैट वन इन दैट ईयर का ऑस्कर्स, व्हिच इज जस्ट अ नॉर्मल रेगुलर ओल्ड हॉलीवुड फिल्म about some great American dream or some great
No,
American story or
I
something.
differ.
And I'll come to that, but that's what I felt because the entire film flows with a conflict that for me was simply not big enough for me to care about. तू कितना भी अच्छा रेसिंग कर ले ना, जितना भी अच्छा रेसिंग का सीन बना दे, दैट एंड देयर आई डिसएग्री विद भरत आल्सो, व्हिच इज दैट आई थॉट इन रश द competitiveness was a little more profound because the characters were a little more lived in. Those are the protagonists of the film. Here Ford is not the protagonist, neither is Enzo. They're just there for sort of almost like maybe 10 or 20 minutes in the film. So yeah, Himanshu, what do you disagree with?
So I think there are points in the movie which are not formulaic and they go
Hmm.
kind of against the grain. And I really liked.
Hmm.
these two points
Hmm.
particularly. One of them was that it's so if there's a movie called Ford versus Ferrari, right? That
Right.
means it's almost like it's a branded content, right? It's an
Yeah.
ad, isn't it supposed to
Huh.
be an ad? This
No.
movie is most probably. I mean, like, it is. If you're an American movie,
Hmm.
if you're an American filmmaker making an American movie and it's about an American company during that time, whatever, it's supposed to be. You can't shit on the
No,
characters
no,
that are
no.
real.
तो that is what I'm saying. That Hollywood movies do. वो इंडिया जैसा नहीं है कि अगर आप गुरु बना रहे हो तो आपको रिलायंस की तारीफ करनी है. वैसा नहीं
Hmm.
है वहां पर. वहां पर I did not
हाँ,
expect them to go nice on Ford or Ferrari for that matter. वो
but
हॉलीवुड में वैसा नहीं चलता.
there's a particular scene
Hmm.
in which Ford starts crying
Hmm.
Right.
after driving in the car, and I thought that
Right.
was quite gutsy. Like
Hmm.
he's a CEO of a company, right? And that would not have been possible here also, and also in any other place where there is a hierarchy. Like had Ford been
मतलब
at the agar jaise had this movie been an ad, na,
but it's but
then
I'm
it
saying
wouldn't have
your
been possible.
premise is wrong. I'm saying it's not an ad. It's a fictional film. They don't need to get permission from
मतलब
Ford.
देख इतनी बॉल्सी
तो वो
हाँ.
मूव्स
आज
इज
अगर
फार
इंडिया में
फ्रॉम द
मूवी बने रिलायंस वर्सेस टाटा, ठीक है, और उसमें
हाँ.
दिखा दे कि रतन टाटा रोने
हाँ
लगे,
बट वो इंडिया है. उधर का कॉन्टेक्स्ट.
हाँ ये
यूएस में फिल्म बन चुकी है फ़ारेनहाइट 9/11 जिसमें वो लोग पीएम को अक्यूज करते हैं, सॉरी प्रेसिडेंट को अक्यूज करते हैं कि इसने
हाँ
दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा टेररिस्ट अटैक किया है. ठीक है. तो द कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट. एंड अमेरिकन फिल्म्स हैव कंसिस्टेंटली सॉर्ट ऑफ गॉन आफ्टर देयर ओन, so to speak. They do have a much more vibrant this thing. So I don't see how that makes it non-formulaic simply because the guy is shown to be a vulnerable guy. That's just a scene or a character moment. I'm talking about the
हम्म,
larger plot. It's like these two guys and they're sort of going up against the system, kind of a very
yeah.
traditional sort of setup. That's what I
So even in
was going for.
even so my second point was
Hmm.
the second thing that I found was which was different is like all those racing movies, na, they end with uh, the race. The
Yeah.
ends like these movies are ending with the high point is that the race will कौन
Right.
जीतेगा.
Hmm.
इस मूवी में बहुत ही जल्दी वो पार्ट हट जाता है.
Hmm.
कौन जीतेगा अब मैटर नहीं करता.
हाँ लास्ट का
Hmm.
आधे घंटा कौन जीतेगा पे है ही नहीं
True.
हाँ,
Yeah.
कौन जीतेगा पता है. अब
हाँ
Hmm.
कैसे जीतेंगे और क्या इमेज है क्या है वो सब. एंड केन माइल्स का जो कैरेक्टर है कि इनिशियली इज डिफिकल्ट टू वर्क विद एंड देन लेटर ऑन he
Hmm.
turns out to be a team player. I found it good. Like I
I
thought,
found it good as well. I find
Yeah.
within the formulaicness, I also felt that it was very by the books.
Hmm.
It was a by the books film, and I told you this, Aditya, when I was recommending this to you.
Right.
But within that, for me at least, again, I genuinely appreciated characters. I genuinely appreciated character moments.
Hmm.
For example, to me, when he chooses to be a team player, I was like, what are you doing, dude? You क्यों कर रहा है? And
Hmm.
I was compelled at that point. So I feel that for me it worked within while being a formula driven film.
Right.
That is what I was going at.
Right. By the way, oh sorry. Uh, you want to say something? Go on.
there are lots of comments about the movie.
Yeah,
If you
Yeah,
guys
there are
want to
some
get into it.
long as
Mr. Pink
comments.
has really.
Acha, while you all read the comments, I just want to deviate to another topic as well.
Hmm.
तुम लोग तब तक comments देखो.
नहीं, dude, यहाँ पे Mr. Pink is saying that American culture has lost its indigenous nature and has shifted itself into a liberal left hub where the church has become irrelevant. This
No
is interesting.
comments.
No, but it's an interesting comment.
American culture has lost its indigenous nature and has shifted itself. When was American culture
Like,
indigenous
I think
particular? I
by
mean,
indigenous, by
by
what
indigenous he means like their own. Matlab,
the
it was
the family culture, the
right,
family values, and
right.
all that, and church being the third
The
estate or fourth
the
estate.
center the center of their whatever moral compass or
Yeah, but I think that
societal compass. वो तो
that
बहुत
is
पहले नहीं हो गया था मेरे
हाँ,
हिसाब से.
मतलब
ये
there
कोई
will be
नई बात
blood
नहीं
में
है.
वही तो बात हो रही थी.
Huh, and that was this perhaps happened like after like McCarthyism and all of that. Perhaps
Yeah.
post 50s this has happened. But one thing I wanted to talk about, which I think is important since we're a film
68 and
podcast,
60, 1968,
is
67, 69 something.
Yeah.
the one thing that is we should talk about as a film podcast is the film certification appellate tribunal has been
Hmm.
abolished. What is the FCAT? It is basically जब कोई filmmaker अपनी film censor board को देता है for clearance,
Yeah.
and if the censor board gives them, either doesn't allow them to release or gives them a rating that's unfavorable,
Yeah.
then usually filmmakers can go to an appeal tribunal. और apparently as far as I know वहां पर movies mostly clear हो जाती है. तो uh, 1 second. So वहां पर usually movies clear हो जाती है, and now that tribunal has been abolished. So now the thing that filmmakers will have to do, if your film does not get cleared by the first round in the censor board, then you have to only, the next step is now by default the high court. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
इसमें एक थोड़ा nuance और है.
right कि वो जल्दी हो जाता है, मतलब
हाँ,
ऐसा
मतलब
कुछ तो.
वही कश्यप
हाँ.
वाला जो मैं पढ़ रहा था.
Right.
Kashyap basically said that out of 3 films which
Hmm.
he was not okay with the film certification board,
Right.
one in was the one in which he went to FCAT, and two
Hmm.
in which he did not, and he said
Right.
that the high courts were faster. So,
Right.
but the other point is, my
Hmm.
point is, a lot of times what happens is, this film certification board gives their gives their suggestions or whatever just like 2 days before the release. So the
Hmm.
filmmakers
Oh.
either have to say, yeah. So the filmmakers either have to say, okay, fuck it, we have to make these cuts. At least the people will see the film on a date that we have promised 6 months back,
Hmm.
and we don't lose crores. Or they fight it out and then they go to high court. And then if you're a small producer, then you have to bear the legal cost and all of that. So वो एक pro and con है इसका.
Another aspect to this which I feel is dangerous, frankly, is that the courts in our country are at best erratic. Okay, there is no like a mainstay or uh, sort of foundation rock of a judgment that they और जिसके basis पे वो लोग करते हैं अपने decision. It's almost like every case is different, you know, like a
Yeah.
Tandav might not make it, something else might be allowed, something similar might be allowed, something similar might not be allowed. So
Correct.
and that happens very often, because our high courts are full of very different personalities, right, in terms of
Yeah.
judges. So that is also a very scary thing. Like if you're left to a coin toss to
Hmm.
when you go to a court, and if you get a guy who's not like, I don't want to say anything about a judge, but yeah, so then that can be very problematic for movies in general. So
Hmm.
काफी दुखद दिन, सब लोग chat में F लिख दो. Yeah.
Mr.
uh
Pink again
हाँ.
has
Hmm.
said I have watched Court yesterday on Netflix. Netflix पे है? I didn't know that.
Court isn't there on Netflix.
It was something else. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Court is great. हमने discuss भी किया. By the way, we have all decided that we will discuss The Disciple a day after The Disciple releases. All right. So I believe it's releasing on the 30th of April, and उसके अगले दिन फिर हम लोग live करेंगे और हम लोग movie के बारे में बात करेंगे, because we frankly loved the film. तो अगर आप देख पाओ तो please देख लेना. The day it releases, watch it and come watch our podcast. It'll be like a nice little community event.
yeah.
So yeah, anything else you guys have to say about Ford versus Ferrari? Because I didn't have many
I
thoughts on it beyond.
मुझे तो यार acting wise इसकी मतलब मैं
Hmm.
हमेशा I'm always found praising Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
हाँ.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
अरे
really.
उसको आता है रे अभी. It's like उसको आता है acting. तो मैं
अच्छा
क्या.
also
हाँ.
हिंडोल ने अगर मेंशन कर ही दिया तो ये एस्पेक्ट
हाँ.
भी था कि इट I again I the film obviously was accused also of being A,
Hmm.
white, and B, male.
Yeah. वो तो
So,
थी,
हाँ,
देखा
and
जाए
वो
तो.
तो मतलब it's based on real
yeah,
life
That's
ना.
true.
अभी उसको काला तो नहीं
10
कर
miles को you can't suddenly
make him
do
a black
something
man.
else. हाँ,
But
it's
also it is also about, in a way, it is about a father son relationship, because a lot of
Hmm.
the times we are looking at
Right.
the character from the kids, and also interestingly the ending of the film is, as Himanshu mentioned, not on a race but on the kid.
Right. Right.
And I mean, in a way it is also kind of old fashioned because it is
Hmm.
set in an like fashion time, where there are these traditional ideas of home कि इंसान घर especially for Ken Miles, right? Ken Miles is a,
Hmm.
like, he's the breadwinner, and this the wife is a homemaker or whatever, right?
Right.
hmm.
Right.
But yeah, it was an interesting choice, at least I would
Hmm.
say. To There was another, sorry, just a side, an
Hmm.
aside point. Have you guys watched a movie called Bridge of Spies?
Yeah. I thought the same about Bridge of Spies, by the way.
I'll tell.
I think I have this consistent opinions
Yeah,
about a certain type of film, which
yeah.
is your Bridge of Spies, which is the
Oscar
Ford
bait,
versus
na?
Ferrari, which is your American Gangster, which is your The Martian, मतलब whatever. All of these movies follow a very clear pattern, which again it's a subjective thing, but I just don't enjoy it. Bridge of Spies का मेरा exact same opinion. कुछ feel ही नहीं हुआ मेरे को मूवी में, कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ा निकलते टाइम.
Bridge of Spies में भी ending का
हाँ,
this is not a spoiler, okay?
right.
Because the film is about a guy who does something and he comes back home. Like, you know, there is no,
Hmm.
the stake is not about whether he survives or not, okay? That is not at stake. So the film doesn't end on conflict का खत्म हो गया now,
Hmm.
you know, oh war जीत गए या फिर cold war खत्म हो गई. It ends on this guy coming home from work, okay? And he's come back from the entire world, okay? He's gone to
Hmm.
Eastern Berlin, whatever, done all that shit. He comes home to his American household. He goes upstairs to his room. His wife is like, oh hi, are you back? And she says something to him while she's not looking at him, and then she turns and we just see him on the bed sleeping. Okay.
Hmm.
And just to sort of suggest that this guy's so fucking tired that abhi bas ho gaya, wo aaya ghar and he just fell on his bed. And I found it
Nice.
nice, as a nice choice, because how many times do you see that in a spy thriller movie ending like this,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I kind
True.
of like that. Is Bale
हाँ.
performing is the same way under the disguise of his various physical transformation?
He is
हाँ, मुझे
thinner.
मुझे तो नहीं लगता है कि कुछ ज्यादा फर्क. अब तो उसको आदत हो गई होगी ना,
So
वो
can
90s से ये कर रहा है, बाय द वे. वो
hmm.
90s से
नहीं, आई थिंक
कंसिस्टेंटली ये करता है ऑलमोस्ट
पिंक
हर
ये
फिल्म.
कह रहा है कि
हाँ.
क्या जिसको हम अच्छी एक्टिंग कह रहे हैं वो सिर्फ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है, लाइक जस्ट.
हाँ, मैं समझ गया, पर मैं कह रहा हूँ कि वो अगर वो होता, देन आई थिंक I don't know he would be able to pull so many different performances. I think as a performer he's pretty rock solid in my view
आई
at
हाँ.
least.
ऑल्सो फील आई ऑल्सो
Yeah.
फील दीज थिंग्स आर हाईलाइटेड मोर इन आवर कल्चर, इन एनी
Hmm.
कल्चर, कि अरे भाई ये देखो इस बंदे ने क्या फिजिकल वो किया है. इवन
हाँ.
द वे डेनियल डे लुइस डज इट,
Hmm.
I'm not saying they're not great actors. I'm sure they
Hmm.
are, but I would also rate somebody like a Julianne Moore, or
Hmm.
or even to an extent Tom Hanks, who
Right.
gets nuances right about their character. It doesn't have to be like, oh अभी ये लोग जंगल में जाके 4 महीने रह के मलेरिया हो गया था इनको और 4 रिब्स टूट गई थी, वैसा
See,
नहीं.
it's also to do with, I think it's also to do with, for example, you take a Priyanka Chopra in India, ठीक
Yeah,
है, उसका बर्फी का परफॉर्मेंस बहुत अच्छा लगेगा, उसका बाकी परफॉर्मेंस there's not much to write home about. So
hmm.
there you can make the claim that this is the scene here, that there is,
Yeah,
you're using a sort of the sort of aesthetics of your character in a way to uplift your performance. But I don't think that's the case with this guy at least specifically. क्या नाम का है the guy
Christian
Bale,
Bale.
Christian Bale. So yeah, because उसने कितने रोल किया यार, and almost all
हाँ.
his roles
नहीं,
have been
but
pretty spot on.
the film before or after this, na, he
Hmm.
played Dick Cheney.
Yeah, Dick
Hmm.
Cheney,
It's called Vice, I think,
Vice.
in which
Yeah.
he
Oh
gained a
yeah.
lot of weight.
तुम लोगों ने देखी क्या वाइस? बिकॉज उसमें वो था, एडम मैके की
Apparently,
फिल्म है वो.
हाँ, एडम मैकी के इसे देखना चाहता था, but reviews
हम्म.
सब एकदम गंदे आए थे,
बहुत
तो
गंदे
मैंने बोला,
रिव्यूज है,
एक सेकंड,
बहुत ही
वाइस के
घटिया
गंदे
रिव्यूज.
रिव्यूज नहीं है.
हाँ.
है
वाइस
यार.
के
देन वी आर रीडिंग डिफरेंट रिव्यूज आई थिंक. या.
रॉटन टमेटोज पे देखो यार, एक
हाँ.
सेकंड.
देख ले.
रॉटन
एनीवे.
टमेटो.
Anyway, so let's, is there, if there's nothing else, then we can, do you guys want to conclude
Yeah.
today's
Yeah,
episode with some recommendations for people?
yeah,
uh,
sure.
क्या
Like,
recommend करोगे तुम लोग आज, हिमांशु?
Let them recommend once for once. Like,
Yeah, those guys, the people who are here right now. Give us your recommendations. Tell us what to watch. Also, what are we discussing next week or next episode whenever we decide to
so one
find the
of
time
you
and
guys
do it.
has to suggest.
हाँ. तो
Aditya has to.
मैं बता देता हूँ, ठीक है. तो मैंने एक फिल्म देखी which is You Don't Know Jack, जिसके बारे में मैंने पिछली बार भी बात किया था. तो You Don't Know Jack is a film available on Hotstar. It's a film about euthanasia. It's about a real guy whose name was Dr. Jack Kerouacian. एंड वो फिल्म मैंने देखी थी, और वो, आई थिंक it's a mind blowing film in terms of biopic. And the thing that I want to discuss next episode is this a contender for top or top 2 or top 3 Al Pacino performances that sort of flew under the radar. That is one movie. The second movie I want to recommend is actually, yeah, let's because I don't think we've actually discussed. मैं खाली ये recommendation पे रखी है movie. अब तुम्हें देखनी पड़ेगी, which is called Waterloo. ठीक है, it's
Okay.
my favorite. I think it's one of my favorite history films. And Waterloo is a film about Napoleon's. It's the Battle of Waterloo between Napoleon and the British forces. And the film has a crazy, like the scale at which the movie is made is amazing. The movie is available on YouTube for free, so just look it up and find
Is
the
it that
version. And
Sergey Bondarchuk?
Sergei Bogdanovich, who also made the long War and
Sergey
Peace.
Bondarchuk.
Bondarchuk, who also Bogdanovich. Bondarchuk, who made War and Peace, and he made a lot of Russian Soviet era films.
अच्छा,
So,
2 कमेंट्स है जो एड्रेस कर सकते हो तुम लोग.
हाँ, तो but anyway, comments हम लोग देख लें. But तुम लोग बताओ, तुम लोग का या यही दो करनी है.
यही
I
दो
think
करते हैं ना
दो ही करते हैं. But you guys have any other recommendations in general?
इन जनरल.
Hmm.
हमने बहुत रिसेंटली किया ना पॉडकास्ट, सो इट्स लाइक
हाँ, तो
बैक
शायद
टू
नहीं
बैक भी.
होगा.
हाँ.
नहीं,
Okay.
मैं मेरे पास एक रिकमेंडेशन है. सॉरी.
हाँ.
देयर इज अ बुक दैट आई एम रीडिंग व्हिच इज fascinating. It's for anybody who likes detective meets espionage. So
Hmm.
there's a trilogy called Berlin Noir. It's
Hmm.
set in 1936 Berlin, when the Nazis have just come to power or are rising in power. And this detective hates the Nazis,
Hmm.
and he is solving crime in this society.
Right.
And this is written by a guy called Philip Kerr. And this guy, Philip Kerr, I think died recently, I think a couple of months
Hmm.
back, which is when I bought this book. It's called Berlin Noir. It's a collection of 3 short novels, which are all revolving around this one detective. And he's compared, rightly so, to Raymond Chandler,
Hmm.
his work,
Yeah.
and Dashiell Hammett, and all of these guys. So,
रेमंड चैंडलर का नाम मुझे खाली बर्डमैन की वजह से मालूम, बट ओके.
oh,
हाँ.
तो ये देख लेना, देख मत लेना, बुक अगर है किसी के पास कहीं से मिल सकती है तो जुगाड़ कर लेना.
Hmm.
बर्लिन नोआर बाय फिलिप केर, वन ऑफ द बेस्ट हार्ड बॉइल्ड डिटेक्टिव स्लैश एस्पियोनाज बुक्स आई हैव रेड.
Hmm.
सो या.
ओके. हिमांशु, एनीथिंग या तेरा आज के लिए वनक्कम
Yeah.
पुदुचेरी.
Yeah, let's.
तो ओके. And hey, you
इनको
voted what? Himanshu, you voted? You're in Assam, so Himanshu is in Assam, so you just there is. I can't actually. हाँ, चलो
नाइस.
verified.
कब
हाँ.
था वोटिंग?
कल था यार.
तेरे घर पे ईवीएम नहीं पड़ा है ना पक्का? एक बार देख ले पीछे कि
हर
दो
जगह से
तीन डब्बे.
निकल सकते हैं यहाँ, कहीं से भी निकल
एग्जैक्टली.
सकते हैं.
कुछ राइट वाइट तो नहीं हुआ इस बार?
नहीं है, बहुत खाली, बहुत एम्प्टी था.
हाँ.
नहीं नहीं सर, इस बार सिर्फ 10 मर्डर. लाइक दैट इज.
बट ये
बहुत ही चिल्ड आउट था, मतलब ऑन द डे ऑफ इलेक्शंस इट वाज
I
एम्प्टी.
think Bengal has taken a lot of the
या.
Oh, dude, these guys have said so much. ये अमित शाह जाके वहां बुलाया था कि तुम लोगों को राम
अच्छा,
राज्य
ये
चाहिए या
ये लाइव
मौलाना
वीडियो
राज्य.
के बात करें हम लोग,
हाँ. हाँ,
या
ठीक है.
हाँ, नॉट टू एलिनेट आवर ऑडियंस, एक्चुअली कर भी सकते हैं. हमने एक्चुअली काफी पॉलिटिकल चीज कर ही दी है पॉडकास्ट पे.
उसने पता है
हाँ,
क्या बोला है? उसने
क्या
बोला है
बोला,
कि
बोल दे अभी. हाँ.
तुम्हें क्या राम राज्य चाहिए या मौलाना राज्य चाहिए, ये बताओ.
अरे ये तो बहुत ये
ये
तो
तो
बहुत ही
बोलता ही है, इसमें
ये
तो
तो
क्या.
बहुत ही बेसिक. अभी तो यू
अब
नीड टू
तो
गेट टू द
गालियां दी जा रही
प्रोग्राम मैन. सो या, तो
ये तो इन शॉर्ट्स का हेडलाइन है ये.
हाँ, तो that is the episode of yeah, that's true. That is the episode from us today, episode 46 of the Discontent Podcast, where we discuss Ford vs Ferrari, which is on Hotstar, and Joji on Amazon, and take from our views what you will about these movies. And the next episode, which is going to be episode 47, unless we get a guest, we are going to do a live episode on Waterloo, which is a film from the 1970s. It's available on YouTube. You can find it. If you don't, then write in the comments, and then we can maybe send you a link. And the other film that I want you guys to watch is You Don't Know Jack, which we will discuss also in the coming week. So we will also put these movies on our Instagram handles either today or tomorrow, so that the people who are interested in following our podcast can watch these, and we can make this a sort of weekly thing where you guys can also in the comments tell us your views, and especially with photos Ferrari or Joji, tell us in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, we can keep this going. Maulana Raju chahiye for Mr. Pink. हाँ, Maulana Raju में, पर he will still not tip. Anyway, with that reference, I will end this live video now. Say bye, guys.
बाय.
Bye bye. How do I